Guys, we're back at part 2, and it's Saturday, and we start with Kosmos Brenner.
I was too hungover, and they were on at 2:30. So
I was too hungover too.
So sorry, Kosmos Brenner.
Okkultokrati. That was really fast.
Yeah. So yeah,
I was hungover again.
No, I dragged myself. I mean, it's not the most. I've been the most hungover I've been at Inferno Festival was a nosh bill that ended up with someone going to prison. We know about this.
Bergen.
Yeah. Some violence being wreaked upon another person who was getting on everyone's tits.
Yeah, but like that guy who actually got the violence wreaked upon was actually hitting really badly and molesting a girl.
Yeah, no, he deserved it. Just certain people, like when they get like, that's the thing, like when you get drunk and you cross a line, just sometimes, especially in metal circles.
But I do like about the
everything kicks off.
I do like about the metal scene that if you're a woman, you're actually comparably safe compared to other scenes, because if you do get molested, there will be somebody standing up for you. If you want help, you will get help.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case, and let's hope that stays the case. So
violence was a bit exceeding, and I heard those teeth crack. It was not a nice sound. But
yes. Yeah, that was quite an intense.
Moment. But then again, I mean, the guy did molest and touch a girl who didn't want to. He expressed it very clearly, and he got his
justice was served.
Yeah, if you mess with the girls, don't be surprised you get problems.
Yeah. So I remember after that, it's like, okay, well, I think this party's ended. So I called out of there at about sort of 5:36 in the morning, and I thought, I need to go to bed. And I'm walking through the corridor, and there's a door open, and there's a couple of people in there. It's a bit like the scene from Labyrinth with the worms going, "All right, come inside, meet the missus, have a cup of tea." Except there wasn't worms; it was two awesome Swiss people, and it was whiskey, and it was 6:30 in the morning, and so I just ended up drinking whiskey with them. I think I remember
Inferno.
Yeah. Getting to the hotel, getting to sleep at about sort of get back into bed about 7:30 with the room obviously spinning, thinking, how am I going to eat breakfast? Because in breakfast, it's in Norway and it's cheap, it's free. If you can do anything,
I mean, we all know there is nothing better than the Inferno Festival breakfast.
Oh my God, it's just
there is no comparison ever. I mean, if you haven't been to Inferno, get there, you get your ass over there, and book the festival hotel and get the bloody breakfast, because that will put you through most of the day. And
the food's amazing. Although I realize you can't eat smoked salmon when you're hungover. Just nothing slimy.
What's your problem?
Nothing slimy. You're just like, I love smoked. It's anything slimy. It's just like your body can't handle it.
There's nothing slimy about it. And you can also have the mackerel and the herring, and like the herring comes in different versions. There's like tomato, mustard, the cured herring. Herring does just anything for you, and you just take like tons of eggs and you just put tons of herring on it, and that's fine.
Just use coffee as like eye drops. That's
yeah, don't do coffee, but like orange juice and stuff will do. But like anyway, that breakfast at Inferno Festival has always been one of the highlights.
Yes. So the morning after that, I had to be back at Rockefeller at midday, having gone to bed at 7:30 to do 2 interviews. One was Scum, remember that? Case of Chaos from Amen, and Bored Faust Eithan. Somehow I managed to sort of string some words together, then interviewed Arcturus.
Do you remember Bart being one of the Inferno guards, actually guarding the backstage?
Yes. Yeah, I was with my colleague, when I was at Terrorizer, my old colleague, Harry Hinchliffe, and we were like, that's Bored Faust Eithan. I think he'd just come out of prison, and he's doing the...
Actually, he was on leave. He was still in.
Yeah. And he's doing the security at VIP. I guess no one's going to fuck with him.
Well, back then, because he was all pumped up while being in prison, he kind of
Well,
like
well,
slimmed down again
just because of
afterwards.
his history. But
But,
so
but like, to get one thing right, that is one of the extremely nicest people that you can find.
yeah,
And what I recently read on the internet, all the abuse spewed on him, that's one of the greatest bullshits I've ever read. He did what he did. He
yeah.
served
Let's
his
not forget that.
time. He did what he did. He served his time. He got out. He has ever been since definitely rehabilitated. Like, since when has the left forgotten about rehabilitation? Since when is eternal hatred the answer to anything? I like when it comes to Bart, he's one of the nicest guys around. So people giving him crap can just go and themselves. That's all I have to say.
I think people felt he didn't kind of fully apologize, but I don't know. But anyway,
And that's nonsense as well. He just doesn't want to talk about it in public.
yeah. So
I do remember, I do recall private conversations, and I can tell that it's nothing like he glorifies anything on. And that's all
no,
bullshit. It's from people who don't know what they're talking about. So just shut the fuck up if you have no idea, and leave the man be. Thank you.
yeah. So right after that, right? Yeah. So we went up to him, and yeah, it was just like to say you're Bod Faust Eifen, and yeah, he turned out to be a really gentle soul.
Indeed.
Yeah.
As I
So
said,
yeah.
he did what he did, but it's done.
Yeah. So I did these 2 interviews, then passed out, and I missed Nutter Frost with host.
Yeah,
And
these two culprits abducted me, literally. Like after I was like trying to get back to the hotel, and I had to write up interviews at 11 o'clock, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to the hotel? We can take you with." So I entered the taxi, ended up at Natterfrost's place, where they're gonna play the next Carpathian Forest demo album to me, and then they played the next Natterfrost, with Natterfrost actually singing the songs live because the singing hadn't been recorded yet. And it was all pretty hellish, but yeah, and I think I got back to the hotel at 10, having had no sleep, having to write up those stories for Metal Hammer, and thanks for the abduction to Natterfrost and Hurst, the two culprits involved in that one. Another happy Inferno memory. But actually, yeah, it was fun, and to hear the new Carpathian Forest back then, that was great too.
you survived.
I kind of survived. I didn't feel that well during the rest of the day, but I think it was one of those death metal days, so fine with me anyway. I didn't have to be awake.
Yeah, that was the most fucked I've ever been for a long time. The only place
We
I've
could
got
actually talk about the next band, because we kind of skipped over Okkultokrati, which
Okkultokrati, basically kind of very crusty, went a bit post punk like everybody is doing for a little while. Just yeah.
I honestly say it's just not mine, so you do the thing.
Yeah, so there's a very good Scandinavia has a really good history of like really fierce crust, and they're kind of quite darker than most. The last album before the new one was kind of odd, but like the way that everyone's going post-punk at the moment, or having post-punk songs or slightly gothy riffs, Okkultokrati did that. They've stopped and they've gone back to how they were before, which is good, but just like, I want more of those post-punk riffs. But yeah, it's just a bit of Norwegian, of Scandinavian sound that gets represented occasionally at Inferno, but it's still very metal, and I'm glad it was there because they are still a killer band.
I can quote Motorhead at this part, which is, "I don't care, baby, I'm so bad." Which leads me to, I'm pretty sure you don't get
Well,
the next
you missed a
one,
good gig.
because they happen to be German.
Yeah. I think you should go on about this one before I disagree with everything you say.
So basically, it could be said that I'm biased, but I have to say that Dark Fortress do have a legacy of doing, oops, wine speaking, do have a legacy of doing quite progressive black metalish music.
That's not the reputation for being progressive, really. I thought they were
But
just like
wait,
big
wait,
dumb
wait,
Route
like,
One black metal.
progressive doesn't always mean odd time scales and weird things, you know. They're not straightforward. It's not like your black metal old school style simple thing. They can do more. And as you know, there is a member of the band that is also a member of Triptychon.
That's true.
Which says a lot without saying anything, and doing complicated things. Anyway, great band, great show, full stop.
Yeah, I always thought that you always liked them because you said they're like big dumb black metal, Route One black metal.
What? Big dumb?
Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of Dark. I always get confused now between Dark Fortress and Dark Funeral.
Ah, here we are. But you know that I love Dark Funeral too.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, that's black metal from my heart. It's straightforward, but we get to it when we get to Marduk.
Yeah.
And let's skip that. But actually, Dark Funeral did great shows at Inferno Festival, despite like having fights backstage between old founding members. But like, anyway, that's Dark Fortress German, Dark Funeral Swedish.
Yeah. Dark Funeral. Yeah, they're quite melodic. They've got this kind of slightly melodic aspect to like lots of is it keyboards in Dark Fortress? It's just not a band I really listen to be honest. I spend a lot of time with.
Give them a little bit more time and listen more carefully. That is actually great music. They're underrated, I think, because they do their own thing very much. They never cared about what anybody thinks about them.
Yeah.
And they just do whatever they like. And that is something I like about black metal. That's one of the things you can do. It's I don't give a fuck. I do what I want. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you like it, fine.
So
fuck off.
Yeah, I kind of think of them like they're to black metal what Black Dahlia Murder are to death metal. It's just like it's got kind of melodic, slightly gothic-y elements in it, but not the first thing I think of when I think about black metal. And they've also had some of the worst.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but once you said Black Dahlia Murder, my brain just shut off.
Yeah, probably that's why I don't really spend a lot of time with Dark Fortress. I understand people really like him, but
do you like Black Dahlia Murder?
No.
Oh, we agree. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next band, which was one of my absolute favorites.
So good that they put them on 3 times. TBA.
I love that band.
I fucking hate that band. They're so overrated.
How can you?
They're such a good band.
TBA is the band that like gets everywhere.
Most bands
There's no festival without TBA.
What band with initials? How many bands with initials are good?
That's the thing. That's the band.
They're just I don't know.
What are you blabbering about? TBA has always been the greatest band on any festival, but I know they're not going to annoy me.
Yeah, I understand there's a lot of anticipation for them, but no, inconsistent as well too. Very inconsistent.
True. You never know what you get when TBA are going on stage. But yeah. I still think that TBA. Yeah.
Right. But talking of, in contrast, Asphyx, just one of the greatest death metal bands. Again,
you know what? Because I do think that the people in Asphyx are extremely nice.
Oh, come on, Gunnar. Just
sorry, you can't help it. I mean,
just say your mind. It's not about how nice the people are.
I'm not going to talk about the music.
If they're nice.
Okay, very, very, very simple.
If they're nice,
you do the review. I'm not doing this review for fucking sure, because this is death metal. It's like
I don't really get your dislike of death metal.
Why don't you get my dislike of something that is stale, has been continuously doing the same thing, and always just thinks to say more brutal, more technical, more whatever is the solution to any musical question?
Do you feel the same way about AC/DC?
There's of emotion involved. I mean, there are a few exceptions.
It's not just about emotion.
Create an atmosphere like Nile, Black Seeds of Vengeance. There is something where you're using all these technical things to create something that actually tells me a story. But in most of death metal, it is just stale, naked, blah, we're going through the motions. Fuck it.
Like,
I don't care.
as
That was great when I listened to Obituary doing Slowly We Rot. It was great when listening to Death Leprosy because they pushed the boundaries. And after that, it got stale and never got any better for about like how many years now? 40? Well, fuck it.
well, A, death metal has obviously moved on quite a lot. B, there's you don't understand. Like, I'd have thought as a black metal fan, you'd understand like that kind of primitive feeling, that really kind of musty, old, like arcane feeling you get in great death metal, and doing something sometimes like Asphyx. Again, it's kind of it's not complicated, but it hits you on a primal level in the way that I don't know if like like we ever into like Von or Beherit as far as black metal goes, or Mystifier.
No.
See, for me, music is about hitting something that's not rational and it's primitive. And Asphyx just do it with such, just nothing's there that doesn't need to be there. They're just, for me, they're like one of the most perfect death metal bands.
I really like those guys. You do the review. So was it great?
They are always fucking incredible. Just everything. Again, like everything I want from a death metal band, and just some people just have it in their bones, and there's just like nothing to beat it. Just.
I will not contradict you or not say anything. The only thing that I have to say is, Strata, you do this.
Well, you're missing out. And
thanks. I'm off.
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum of experience that you've denied yourself, and you should be ashamed.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I will continue denying myself the joys of death metal.
Yeah, it's not always about emotion. It's about feeling yourself being inducted into something.
It isn't. Yeah, well, anyways.
Okay, let's.
Why you are into death metal and I'm into black metal. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But now let's go to Xenoblight. Do you want to say anything about Xenoblight?
As far as I remember, I think they're pretty workmanlike. Nothing.
You like that term, really? Is that something you got stuck on recently? The workmanlike thing. Do you put that in any article you're writing about right now?
No, because I try not to review the workmanlike bands.
Let me get my glasses so I can look more intellectual. So are you?
Let me take my glasses off so I look a bit more like Anton LaVey.
Is workmanlike thing you like?
No, it's quite cut thrashy, but it doesn't have that kind of that really primitive excitement of thrash. It's very modern thrash, Danish band.
The Danish.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing normally.
So, hello, King Diamond.
Have you seen King Diamond live recently?
Yeah.
You liked it?
Oh my god, it was amazing. I mean, obviously you have to like the voice. I mean, the voice is
you mean the female singer on stage?
That's quite sexist, Gunnar. Men can sing in the highest.
No, how would that be sexist? Because she's great.
Who are you talking about?
That female singer that is adding to the vocals.
Oh, okay. I thought you were having a dig at Papa, the king himself.
No, I wasn't being gender fluid here. I was just being very honest. That one of the most horrible things I've seen at Hellfest was the King Diamond set.
Well, I think once you get
the girl is singing great.
Yeah, the thing is, like the voice though, it's just like if you get into the voice, you're in a whole other realm. It's like it's kind of a test of metal for me, like whether you like some people it does their head in. But if you get into King Diamond, you across the threshold and there's no way back.
Nothing against the old albums and stuff, but like seeing that live was painful. It was an experience of intense pain.
Well, when the last time we played live in the UK, it was an appearance of intense crying and joy and wonder.
I think we are not going to agree on
that. I've seen
King Diamond wasn't playing the Inferno Festival.
No.
Or so in your case, like sadly, in my case, like
yeah. So Vreid.
Anyways,
moving swiftly on.
I think with that we kind of reviewed Xenoblight through King Diamond.
Yeah. Either way,
I guess the guys will be happy, but then again, they're from Denmark.
Yeah, shout out to
I have to
Denmark.
say, I mean, nothing against Denmark, and I wish to point out that Heilung are from Denmark.
This is true.
And also that like the standard of Danish metal seems to be going up in recent years. Because it has been like, I mean, you compare it, you had Sweden, you had Norway, you had Finland, which isn't really part of Scandinavia because not on the Scandinavian peninsula, although people seem to assume. And then Denmark isn't either. That's still part of the European continent and not on the Scandinavian peninsula. But anyways, comparing those scenes, Denmark didn't fare very well. But I think,
No.
I think through to Copenhagen.
Sorry,
And
it just sorry,
a lot of effort we put in. I'm
just going to pause you here a second.
I'm just trying to say something nice about the Danish scene.
All right, I'm actually going to just sit in front of my chair because it comes out of the background and looks like and the side of it looks like a massive dildo just floating in space against Geiger.
I'm like, you're English, so I'll be hardly surprised at that point.
Yeah, I just noticed. I said to one side, and it looks like there's a massive dildo just floating in space. I wouldn't be surprised
that you're sitting on a massive dildo.
Yeah, I guess it goes with the Geiger background I've got, but there you go. So in case everyone wondering, it's not a wooden dildo behind me. It's just it's the back of a very phallic chair.
Dildo behind. Just like, do we get this on the outtakes?
Just thought I'd clear that up for anyone.
Anyways,
who's still listening at this to us? Twitter one at this point.
Nice about the Danish scene, which is in recent years, and I think that is mainly through the efforts of the guys running Copenhagen, the Danish scene is moving up. Because it has been in a bad state for a long time, and it's getting somewhere. But we're not in Denmark. We are in Norway. So talking about Cameloso, we're now talking about a Swedish band.
I thought we were going to talk about Vreid.
Valkyrja.
You've missed out Vreid, mate.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! We skipped Vreid. You're right.
Right.
And we cannot skip that because I mean, it's connected. Here, it's a complicated thing that is connected in so many ways to the early Inferno Festival, to the continuing Inferno Festival, and of course, to the Tons of Rock, which we have to mention at this stage, because Jarle, or if you want to stay in Sognamaul, Jarle is he's gonna hate that one. But anyway, like here we are, and now people are very confused unless you're from Norway. That we are talking about a band that has been doing its own thing for a long time and got extremely good at it. Did you see the stream that Vreid were doing recently?
No, I missed it.
The song number. I think, like, from all the bloody streams that are happening on the internet right now, because there are no concerts, I think the Vreid thing was probably one of the best. It showed how much strength this band has developed over all these years.
Yeah, I wish I had seen it.
It's one of these underrated bands that have been doing great things without people kind of noticing, at least on a large scale. And since Vreid are born out of India and continuing out of India, they have a long history with Inferno as well. So this is one of the bands that is one of the cornerstones, I think, of the festival. And it's one of the cornerstones of Norwegian metal. And it is one of the cornerstones of the Norwegian scene. And yep, here we go. I mean, judging from the stream they did, this virtual show last night was an amazing show. I'm pretty sure some people missed it because they underrate this band.
Not in Norway. I think that, you know, Norwegians and Norwegian bands, they're very loyal.
The band has always, remember that a lot of the audience from the Inferno Festival is not from Norway. I think at least a third, Jan Martin could give us exact numbers, but I think at least a third is coming from abroad.
Yeah, but it's all the 2/3. They always turn up for their own bands. Anyway, so I have a slightly different view on Vreid.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your view on Vreid.
Well, because they are so mid-paced, and mid-paced, it can go either horribly wrong or really right, depending on what you put into it. So bad mid-paced is really dull and boring. And good mid-paced, if you've got power and conviction behind it, can be totally gripping in that mid-pace zone.
Mhm.
But that's why I like Asphyx, because they got that mid-pace, but it's got a groove to it.
Yeah, you're
So
trying to compare Norwegian band to Asphyx.
But that mid pace and the mid pace, if you hit a groove, it can be great.
Take it for the sake of the argument.
Yeah. So so they can be either amazing or really dull, and I've seen them being really dull. I think some of the records are a bit dull. Some of the records are great. The one Inferno Festival gig I did really thought was pretty amazing was where they kind of had all the projections behind a few years back. And it was all about kicking the Nazis out of Norway. It was all about the,
is that kind of like a hint? Kind of like hinting at me here? Like,
are you a Nazi?
No.
No, not really.
But I'm German.
Yeah, it's in your, yeah.
And we kind of like, I know it's about Milorg and things, but like, let's face it, military, we had to kind of occupy Norway. There's no way around it. Because else, if we hadn't done it, you would have done it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would have been better for Norway. Without being a Nazi.
Well, you can't really take that out of the equation, really. But anyway, so but it was kind of a really good history lesson, and you know, and I think it was a really good like explain to, like, you know, that a certain kind of patriotism in Norway was really, you know, that Norway fought the Nazis, and I think that's important to remind everyone.
You're actually entering extremely difficult. I'm sorry to contradict you here, but the country with second highest collaboration, if, for example, volunteers for the SS troops, would be Norway.
I know they
number one would be the Netherlands, but like, we're entering extremely touchy historical ground here. Funny thing is, the Milorg flag is very close, like the, you know, commemoration flag, it's very close to the Inferno Festival history thing. And of course, you have the Milorg album of Vreid, and Vreid are working on the history. And then again, if you go up to the Tons of Rock Festival, which is now in Oslo, up there is where you had SS barracks and where you had like a cemetery actually of the SS and things like that. So there's history all around if you care to look for it. And Vreid, of course, we're taking a very clear position here, which I find very commendable. But that part of history is a very complex one. And looking at it, it's not like easy answers of there's the bad, there's the bad. I mean, there is that Norwegian doctor who after the war declared, like, any woman getting a German child, or a child fathered by a German, is obviously insane, so they should all be killed. That is not very kind of humane either. So like, there is a very complex history behind the whole thing. And there are no easy answers, except of course for, I completely agree with you, fuck the Nazis. No question about that. But as I said, we're entering different historical territory, and Vreid have always been going straight into it. But they've always also been able to put out really great tunes, catchy melodies, catchy songs, definitely based on black metal. Great band musically. And it's not just Milorg, which is a great album of their latest effort, like something you should get into. Here we are talking about a band that has been putting out great stuff and fronting the Sogna metal scene now for a long, long time. Because you have the whole scene that is kind of the post-Vindir scene, with a lot of bands following in that line, like Mr., for example.
Yeah, they did a big 20th anniversary a few years back, I remember.
Indeed. And as I said, I mean, that is one important scene of Norway that has been slightly different from everybody else. You had the big blocks in Bergen, you had the big block in Oslo, but you also had a very unique scene in the Sogna, in the Sogna region.
Yeah.
Hordaland, that region has been special and has been creating its own scene for a long time. And the loss of Valfar was, of course, something that always has been remembered.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, lots
For a
of
long
tunes on
time.
it.
But yeah, like different historical territory, but like we're not historians, we're metalheads, so we're not probably having a too close look. And now we go back to those who actually serving both sides in the Second World War, the Swedish.
Yeah.
Not naming any names, but Valkyrja.
Yeah. Again, nothing particularly special. They have some nice dynamics, but I just think you can watch 10 minutes and you've got the sum of them. I don't think there's anything that particularly striking about them.
I remember being in a shuttle from Oslo to the Tons of Rock when it was still out there at the east of Norway, and I think they gave me a lot of vodka, so I cannot say anything bad about this
So
band.
easily bought off.
I know. I'm German. They are definitely heavy drinkers, and they're very good at it.
So, come on, Gunnar, speak what's in your heart. That shriveled heart of yours.
I have no heart. I'm a German, so I cannot have that thing anyways. Well, it was like that lovely guys. Musically, not my scene really. Strata, it's death metal.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's move on. Marduk. So
Marduk.
yeah. Let's get this bit over and done with. Let's get something over and done with. Getting a lot of shit for just don't really get it. It's like the same people never had a go at Motorhead, never had a go at Slayer. It's just, you know, because you talk about a certain era doesn't mean
I can quote Morgan like from a long time back, even when I was still doing a small radio show before I even joined Metal Hammer in the northwest of Germany. And I remember Morgan like giving me one quote, which was, "Why do people think I'm so stupid as to support a political ideology that failed so miserably?" And that is a long time back. And that has never changed. So all this controversy, they can just go and I can't name these words because I know that like YouTube will beat me out or something. But like there will be a long list of abusive things if I ever like address these so-called critics of Marduk. They can all go and just, if you catch my meaning.
catch your drift, yeah.
I completely love this band. They have done so many great songs, so many great albums, and I mean I was at the very first show when Mortus joined Marduk, and he was like this shy guy on stage. And now, if you look at it, this monster of black metal fronting like Sweden's superior black metal firepower. That is a range of Tiger 2s just hitting on hapless T-34s from a distance.
No, I think they're a great band, and like, you know, every album has kind of its own thing going on within a framework, and they were totally revitalized when Mortus came in. I think they're becoming like a little bit of a joke towards
what?
I think before Mortus came in,
here they were never a joke.
Just like they weren't firing on all cylinders. It was just
what?
They were just they needed. I'm glad they had the change of guard. Sorry, Legion, but
no,
it's just
no. You got it all wrong. Eric was great.
Not towards the end.
But
I'm not denying the power of those early records, but live towards the end, it was just.
Oh no! What are you talking about?
Just
I don't hear you. It doesn't compute.
I saw one of the last gigs with Legion, and it was like some of the songs almost had this kind of like nursery rhyme singing to it, like.
My bottle of white wine is empty.
Yeah.
But I can just say you're wrong. You're terribly wrong.
Half his, like, nearly all his corpse paint would like be sweated off by the first two songs.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, true that, but that just shows that he was fucking moving around and giving everything.
Yeah, but they're much
But
better
anyway,
now.
I mean, Marduk are one of the black metal constants and monsters. Any critic who just wants to give them the political fingers because they're doing Second World War topics can just go and whatever. Like, I don't give a damn, because I mean, this band has proved time and time again that they're just on top of their game. It is Sweden's leading black metal band. There can be no question about that.
Well, you know, there's
okay, let me hear it. Like, what do you want to like? What do you want to? And it's Marduk.
I would rather go and see a Watain gig than a Marduk gig. So here's my one little caveat with Marduk.
What?
Yep. So here's
Nothing against Watain, but we're talking Marduk here.
No, there's something like genuinely above and beyond with Watain gigs when they're literally on fire. But but here's my one caveat with Marduk live.
You like
so it's a strange phenomenon, just like because it's Morgan's band, and so it's weird seeing a black metal band where, as good a frontman as Mortis is, you feel like that's not the main channel, being the frontman. Like, so I kind of feel like I don't know where to kind of really like focus. Because the thing is, like, you want especially in black metal, you want a frontman to embody and channel a certain kind of power. But I just get a little bit of interference where I just feel with Marduk, and this is the only band that I get this with, where like.
May I suggest?
Let me finish. Where like
you already said enough.
Where like I don't feel it's all about the front man, where it's not all going through the front man, and so I just feel like I get a little bit of I don't know where all my energies are being focused when I see them. Not that I don't think they're a great band, but it's just a little bit of a caveat, and it's the only band I get that with, because when like the main guy behind the band isn't the front man, it changes the kind of chemistry of it a little bit. Not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I just
let me address this as what it is: pseudo-intellectual bullshit.
No, I'm just going from experience. Like I'm just like.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're so wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. But obviously, you're wrong because you're.
I'm explaining my experience. That's it. That's what.
Marduk.
Don't get me wrong. I love the band. I love the records, and I think they've done. All the albums with Mortis have kind of moved them on. They've all been, different, and they've all exposed. There was even quite a lot of Watain in some later Marduk albums. There was.
I'm pretty sure that Morgan will be happy about the insults you just delivered.
Just that kind of expansive atmosphere that Watain have. I could sense it in.
I'm gladly watching you being beaten up at one of the next gigs that we're attending.
No, I stand by my my outlier views.
And I mean, that doesn't mean I'm saying anything bad about Watain. I would just like to point out here, because I mean, nobody can doubt their importance. But Marduk,
right?
That's it. You're obviously so wrong that wrong.
No.
But yeah, you're English, obviously.
No, we just live in different reality. We're just living in different realities now. It's just like we're like Trump versus non-Trump America.
Watain before Marduk. That's not doable. It's like no.
I think Watain are more standard bearers for black metal than Marduk.
Looking at your haircut, which mine is horrible because I look like a hippie these days, because in Hamburg it's still illegal to get your beard cut because of the fucking virus. But looking at it, blonde beast, and that refers to you.
What do you call me?
Blonde beast.
Blonde?
Yeah, you are.
I've got no hair. What are you talking about?
You're blonde.
I'm not. I'm.
You're more blonde than I am.
What? I was auburn, darling. Not blonde. Right. Okay. Right.
Anyway, I'm a darker shade of blonde. You're the blonde beast. But anyways, let's move on then to Tulus.
Yeah. So talking
If you
about
say something bad right here, I think next time we'll be ripe for a beating.
no, I love Tulus.
That's good to say because, like,
I mean, you know, not hugely different from his other band, Cold. They both got that.
There isn't only one, but you forgot to mention Sake, maybe.
Oh yeah, Saga too. Yeah, but again,
I think Tulus has a very special atmosphere. Like to me, that's like they're all very dry. Yeah,
very
like
mid-paced.
he has a very dry expression. But like Tulus for me has always been like if I have to choose between Sake, between what you just mentioned,
Cold.
Gold. I love Gold. Don't get me wrong. And Tulus, I think Tulus was kind of the hit.
They're the more kind of like down to earth, gritty of the lot.
They're all down to earth, gritty, but
they're the most.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep. I just love them. Like,
yeah,
they've been around for so many years. They're like part of the foundation of the Norwegian scene. They never really got that much media attention, mind you. Because I guess it's also because they never really toured that much.
Last album is really good.
Yep.
They're just the sonic equivalent of chewing a wasp.
without having an asshole.
yeah.
Who is actually a genius musician. Like, don't get me wrong on that one, because like, yeah, I think Babylon AD, and not listening to the content of the lyrics, is one of the best rock and roll albums in the recent years. I think that is still an amazing band. But like, Tulus are special. I think they're an acquired taste. It's like one of these malt whiskeys which you either love or hate.
Yeah, very rustic mulled whiskey.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of the Isla ones, I guess. It has to be one of the Isla malts.
Yeah, the recipe hasn't changed for about hundreds of years.
Like, it's very dry in the aftertaste, but like, yeah, amazing band. So I love the Tulus gig that never happened, but like, I'm totally in.
Yeah, I love the one that did happen a few years back before that. I'm pretty sure they played Inferno before.
And now we reach the point of, like, since we seem to agree, and I think the next one, it will be hard for us to disagree. There is a musical genius, and another one, because we already mentioned Ishan. But here I think we've hit the second musical genius.
I mean, it's funny. It's like Roadburn Festival had Requiem.
Best show at that Roadburn was the Requiem show.
Apart from the fact you couldn't hear half the instruments for the first 10 minutes.
You couldn't? You stood at the wrong place. I did.
No, yeah, the sound was terrible for the first 10 minutes, but it was incredible.
Well, anyways, and like, I mean, all kudos to the main frontman to take a step back and let an unknown female singer take the front.
Yeah.
At that show. Because like that one, I think she's Moroccan or Algerian. Like, amazing. We're talking, of course, of Triumph of Death, which is Tom Gabriel Warrior's tribute.
Yeah, just you know, there's something about metal where it just like, again, it just resonates in your bone marrow, and it doesn't always make sense, but it's raw, and it's just, oh my God, it's just hearing that stuff live is just such an emotional experience. And it's not emotional because it's intrinsically emotional, because it's not.
I hate it when I have to agree with you, but here there's no way around. Like Triumph of Death, it's one of these things that means so much more on so many layers.
So many layers, yeah.
There is the music, which means a ton and weighs heavily, but there is not just the music.
Yeah, there's a. I mean, it's not an atmosphere in the way that you normally think of atmosphere, but it resonates on something really, really primitive. But also just the fact that, you know, this was music made out of necessity at the time.
I think that's well said. It's urgency. It's something that comes from the bottom of the
you know,
soul.
it wasn't looking over its shoulder what other people were doing. It wasn't trying to follow a trend. it was just raw and unfiltered experience, but because of that, it was kind of, for its time, it was so avant-garde. And
so probably let me say one thing, that was one of the highlights of this year's virtual not happening in front of us.
yeah, and we get to do it again next year, thank fuck.
Oh yeah, please. But like, yeah, to me the Inferno show, that not the Inferno, not the Inferno, the whole
Roadburn.
The Roadburn show, thank you. The Roadburn show, that was the Roadburn show that it transcended, and it was music. It was just music. It didn't have to be anything. It was just music at its best. It came from the need of the soul, from the heart, the bottom of the heart.
And they've been gestating for so long as well.
And they just performed it perfectly.
Mm.
And luckily, you can actually get that thing and order it and hear it at home.
Yeah.
You mentioned that too, but like, of course, that isn't the same as being there, but it's the second best.
Yeah,
thing.
and Triumph and Death is kind of, it's the opposite end of the spectrum, but it's all held together by one man with just so, like, when I say conviction, it's not just like I'm going to have conviction. He just is conviction.
Yes. And
it just
there should be a monument. Knowing from the conservative Swiss, they're probably not going to do it, but there should be a monument for him.
Yeah.
Because he put Switzerland on a cultural landscape that I think the country doesn't even know exists.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great stuff that comes out of Switzerland. Switzerland's such a strangely ripe country for like totally groundbreaking music.
Indeed.
Yellow, the Young Gods.
Oh yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Even though you can, to a certain extent, Shamash as well too. It's
yeah. I mean, what can be said? Like, I mean, that is a country to look out for, because Switzerland always has produced great bands. Kind of like not having a big lobby, that is to say, but Triumph of Death just nailed it again.
Yeah, so it's like basically it's like meeting your maker,
kind of.
The metalhead.
True.
Right.
Okay. An atheist, but like, I think that kind of covers that.
Yeah, your metal maker.
True.
Yeah.
True. But like, that kind of covers Saturday. And amazing, as I said again, amazing artist, amazing personality. Nothing else to be said.
Yeah, just he has a very absolutist worldview, and that really comes across.
Sometimes, yeah. And I mean, but the good thing is, like, we don't always agree, but I've not experienced disrespect, despite the matter that I heartily disagree on some of the things. But never experienced disrespect on a personal level. It's as I said, it's one of the things that, like, it's an artist. He is a true artist, going beyond all the ordinary that you will find in the metal scene. I think it's transcending the borders, the limitations of just the metal scene. It's an artist in a more universal sense.
Yeah.
That has a vision that reaches beyond. I mean, the antecedents of death, the masks, for example, that he has produced. Another form of visual art, and of course three-dimensional art that is connected to the world that is metal, but also is connected to another form. And there's more to it than just meets the eye on a very single approach. Yeah. So I think, like, we're talking about one of the great performances that this year that is undoubtedly something that, if the mainstream feuilleton ever would get off its high horse, considering only jazz and classical music to be art, they would have to notice.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, my Geiger backdrop is in part tribute, because when he talks about Geiger, you realize actually that he is so reverent towards Geiger that he has a sense of like something higher as well too.
There is, of course, a strong connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anybody visiting Switzerland, you need to go to the Geiger Museum.
Yes, you do.
It's the must-see thing. If you don't, shame on you.
Yeah.
But we're talking Norway here.
Okay.
Of course, we are referring now to the Inferno Festival Switzerland, which was the offspring, which sadly doesn't exist anymore because of the city of Lausanne putting heavy barriers up against the festival that it finally didn't want to take anymore.
I got to go one.
I think it was a conservative part of the town trying to break down a metal festival and successfully doing so in the end. But that's one of the points. We have a festival here that is essentially black metal at Easter, one of the central Christian festivals in Norway, which is a country that had Christianity as its state religion for a long, long time. I think the black metal scene very much helped in abolishing that sorry state. All the Christians will now give me shit, but they can go and